Murders, but they suspect the i-5 killer is responsible for as many as 24.
The i-5 killer. Once a Green Bay Packer NFL football player. Me and Mrs. Crime have been in the Northwest for quite some time. And now we're on the way, driving south I-5, going to visit the grave of a Sherry Hall. Randall Woodfield, the i-5 killer, flashing as a young teenager, caught in numerous crimes, now has at least 18 murders, 60 sexual assaults, method of abduction, NFL rap tape, a knife, and a .32 caliber. Mr. Wade here and Mrs. Crime. We are now out in Salem, Oregon, looking for a Sherry Hall. Now, who was she? She was actually murdered by the i-5 killer. Now, me and Mr. Crime are trying to find one of his murderees' graves of this notorious Oregon i-5 killer. I-5 is a highway out here in the state of Oregon. And we're looking for his grave now. Mrs. Crime is back there, and she's looking as well. We're in the right area, Section 27, Lot 99, Section 1. Section 1, Block 27. So if you haven't already subscribe. Remember, click that like button. A lot more come from Tombstone Whispers. So let's look for her grave, and I'm going to tell you about who this i-5 killer is. Stay tuned.
This is a guy who grew up as a star athlete and decent student, all-state football player on the Oregon coast.
Now, as you see, Mrs. Crime way over there. Yeah, we're a couple hours off from where we stay over in North Washington State. But we came out here to bring you some good footage, right? Now, we decided to come out here to bring you guys a story of Sherry Hall. These are the graves out here. Mrs. Crime is walking past right now. As you see her, there she is. Now let Mr. Wade break it down on who this i-5 killer is. Now I'm gonna post his name up there because you know I'm bad with names. This guy here was notorious. Now he murdered a lot of females. He had a certain type. They had to be petite and a certain type, but he also went offline and killed other women as well. Now, he sprawled up and down the I-5. I think he might have went out of the state of Oregon to maybe California. I'm not true, but it might be a fact. But what happened to Sherry was this. Sherry worked as an overnight cleaner at a Kaiser office out here near Salem, Oregon. Okay, so his name is Randall Woodfield. Now, this guy here was a notorious killer on the I-5 highway. He killed numerous numbers of females. Now, his murdering spree was not thought that it would be something that he would do. He was actually overlooked as being a suspect to all these murders. Now, with DNA and also with the help of the individual that also was shot by him as well, testified against him. That's how he got caught up. Now, this guy here, I'm going to post all kind of things about him. He was actually in the NFL draft back in the 1970s, 1980s. And he was actually picked up by the Green Bay Packers. So this was an NFL player that did what he did. Wow. And they said he was a nice guy. Nothing wrong with the guy. He was very polite. If he did bad plays on the field, he will apologize for it. He was a very good dude. They did not see this coming from this man. But, of course, he did it, of course. And he's been over in, I think, the Oregon State Prison for years. Wow. But check this out.
The early signals of sexual deviancy and the fact that he exposed himself in junior high school and college. He's got drafted by the Packers. And despite recognizing...
So one night, this man decides, I'm going to go over here because I'm stalking these two individuals. Now, there was Miss Hull and another lady named Miss Linda. Linda was an actual worker of hers as well. They both worked. They were the cleanup crew in this Kaiser building. They were working in the building, right? And Randall came into the building, of course, snuck in there, and he ended up standing right behind Miss Hull. Now, Linda was a bystander, so both of them got assaulted by this guy. Both of them were shot in the back of the skull by, I think, a 35 or 34. I'm bad with guns, of course. I'm bad with anything that got to do with names, but shot in the back of the head. So they both were stripped down, left naked. Miss Hull, of course, when the police arrived, they're saying that she was still muttering something. She was still talking, but she ended up passing away, of course. Linda did not pass away. Linda played dead. That's why Randall left. He thought that she was dead as well. They both are in blood, hair full of blood. Everything was mutilated on their bodies, everything. And of course, shot in the back of the head, but she lived. Miss Linda, she was the reason this guy got caught. She actually went to the actual court case and testified against him. She lived. So if it was for her, don't tell her how long this man Randall would have been on the stream of just doing what he'd been doing. Wow. So we are here to give respect to Miss Hull, Sherry Hull. And Linda's, of course, she's still living. I checked. And I think, but as far as Sherry, we're here to give respect. Wow, there's a lot goes on about this guy. Stay tuned. So I'm now heading to the actual gravesite of Sherry Hull. Mrs. Crime has found the grave. Mr. Wade was going crazy, couldn't find it, but she found the grave. Stay tuned. Mrs. Crime, we caught up to you. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. How's the weather feel to you?
It's cold.
Yeah, see Mrs. Crime all fixed up, looking like Tina and Bob Marley. But we are now at the headstone of Sherry Hull. Stay tuned. So this is the headstone of Sherry Lynn Hull, beloved daughter, September 5th, 1960 to January 19th, 1981, in God's care. Sherry Lynn Hull. All respects to her family, to her friends, loved ones, from Tombstone Whispers. Now, Miss Sherry was actually one of the headstones that we've been wanting to get to for some time, practically almost 2 years. I read stories on this guy when we first came out to the Northwest, and I seen stories about this man, pictures and everything. They're all on this video because I make sure I post it because we bring it to you. But we are now at Bellcrest Cemetery, and wow, we finally made it to actually a murder grave of this guy, the i-5 killer. Whew. Stay tuned.